Happy New Year everybody, a new year is upon us and that is great. So in order to keep traditions, I decided to shake up my schedule a tiny bit.
Back in 2018 I decided to include one game review every month and the rest I left up to whatever I could find or figure out would be entertaining.
So this year I decided to not only include one game review every month, but also a cartoon review such as another Is It Worth It, a top 10, maybe something to do with cartoon series. And that is why today we're going to look at Space Chickens in Space and whether it is worth it or not.
And as said before, this year changes are going to happen, so I decided to look at story, comedy, character build as well as originality, just to have some guidelines to easier make episodes worthwhile watching.
Of course not all shows needs comedy, and therefore I might change this up a tiny bit depending on what genre I'm looking at.
So first, let's look at the story, and to begin with, we can easily determine that the show borrows heavily from both Breadwinners in terms of art and design, as well as Rocket Mindies in terms of scenario and shenanigans.
So how is the story? Well, it's stale and not very original, I must say. And that's sort of why I decided to watch the first 6 episodes instead of the first 5, since it has this 10 minutes time span.
The stories are rather simple to follow, which is actually kind of sad when you know it's sci-fi. And yes, it is categorized as pseudo-sci-fi. They are supposed to make you feel like something in the future, something we can understand, but not entirely. Something we question, but still makes us intrigued.
This, on the other hand, you just question. For the wrong reasons, of course. The stories are not very original in any way at all. So let me sum some of the stories up for you.
You got the typical alien invasion of the space station seen a million times as well as way better. We got the AI gone wrong, so original. We got the xenomorph infiltrating the station as an egg. Gee, which alien movie did that come from? Oh right, Alien. The bounty hunter mixed up with bad weather and has to stay inside concept.
Usually they don't mix these two ideas for good reasons. They rarely work together.
And of course we got the Space Wars, so freaking original.
As you can easily see, they aren't that original, apart from a babysitting episode of course, which I've only seen done in Team Galaxy, which actually might give you an indication of how great the show is.
The stories are seriously bad. They feel like they just ripped off every single space alien cliche they could get their chicken feeds on. Oh, and you got to love that they use smartphone-like technology to troll the alien empire into full-blown war, which they actually did twice in 6 episodes. That's just lazy reusing concepts after 6 10-minute episodes. Let's look at the characters. We got Chuck, the main protagonist. Even though they evenly give screen time to all 3 chickens, Chuck is what you can say the cool dude.
Gee, saying something like that to such a bland and uninteresting character makes me want to puke out all of my blood.
We got Finley, the nerd, who I have to say is a stereotypic nerd. Hates sports, loves machines, and blames the incompetence of others for a joint failure.
True nerdom right there. The bare minimum of course, but it's still there.
Then we got Starly, which is the sister. She is sort of hippie, sort of safe animal, sort of chi yoga lover. You know, these characters you usually combine with Carefree.
And she's strong. Whether that is to push an agenda or just because they felt it was funny that a carefree person is strong, I'm not sure.
She is bland as well, go figure. She also has the synthetic singing voice like Finn in Adventure Time.
Yeah, one of the aspects of Adventure Time I really didn't like, they of course decided to include. Next you're probably telling me that Circle of Life episode, that overall hated episode entirely drawn and animated by a different company, they are going to rip off too. Yeah, I could see that happening.
Then we got Glarg, spelled G-L-A-R-G, since that's funny. And trust me when I say his name is one you are not going to forget because he refers to himself in 3rd person. And all the time.
Then Glarg did not summon you! Report to Glarg! At least Glarg can think clear without...
And this is not original nor great, I might add. Some characters might be able to pull this off, usually because they have a strong introduction arc as well as some great character traits. So tell me, what is the first thing we see about this character? Oh right. Oh, you hear that? That's the F-bombs dropping outside.
He's the former not so great warrior and is now principal on this space academy. Yeah, another thing they borrows poorly from other shows and movies. He's constantly trying to get his mother's approval since he's never going to live up to his big brother Brian's standards.
The ones who bested Clark's perfect brother Brian?
Hey, leave me out of this. I'm not going to look at theories about this show. Other than an early cancellation, perhaps.
Then we got this girl. I couldn't for the love of anything figure out her name in these 6 episodes. She reminds me an awful lot about Lloyd in Space and their characters. And she's apparently...
So, how do you say this? I mean, it's so shallow, it's almost impossible to find.
She's, well, this star pupil, I believe, and yet she's jealous of the chickens as well as their not relationship with the principal.
She's actually hard to talk about because it feels like they changed her origin as well as personality in every single episode.
She reminds me a bit about Five Nights at Freddy's. The less you know, the more intrigued you are, and the more you know, the more you realize it's not exactly what you hoped for.
But of course, as FNAF was a hit success and this character is, well, not, it's not really fair to compare them. But I am really missing some sort of reference material here. I don't even think that Food Fight's characters were this shallow. And that is really concerning.
Anyway, let's move on to comedy. It doesn't work. At all. The jokes, the humor, anything are just dumb and stupid. There's this joke with the fly aliens, yeah I know, but let me finish. Infiltrates the general's body and makes him dance. Sort of similar to Quack Pack actually, which also did something rather similar to this, and I bet you if we go further back, they also rip someone off with this concept.
Gee, 2 episodes of Is It Worth It, and I have mentioned Quack Pack in both? Well, what can I say? I'm not a 90s kid for nothing.
So anyway, the joke I guess could have worked if they A. made it more fun, B. made the music and scenario better, C. didn't drag it out this long. And you can sort of say that for all the jokes really. I mean, come on, Billy and Mandy could have made this joke work, which, come to think of it, they had a similar scenario as well with Billy's nerves. And also, if you want to see how to drag jokes out the right way, why not draw inspiration from Monty Python Flying Circus? They are more or less expert at this, as well as so much more. Another joke I found rather bad is one with the general's pet which died, while the chickens bleeply-seated it, since that's what the episode is called.
That's like me saying, oh, I'm going over to the neighbor's house to Jeff's the baby. It just doesn't work.
Anyway, in an attempt to fool the other students, they throw and shake the poor dead thing, and usually I'm okay with stuff like this, since it can make you laugh, as seen in Simpsons and South Park and the like.
But here it's just so out of place, it's just terrible and really puts you in a bad mood. I always say, if you want to make jokes work, know your surroundings and your audience. This is clearly someone who didn't get to know either.
There's also the whole incident with the beige army attacking Glorik because they don't grasp the concept of sarcasm nor roleplay/acting, since that is apparently hilarious to the creators of the show. I have to say that the jokes, I don't think I have seen something so unfunny as this in a long time. Not even Super Noobs nor Breadwinners were this boring. Give those other shows credit, they weren't funny, but at least you could tell what they were trying to do. This show, you really can't. It feels like every joke is from a different bucket. Those buckets all the other great shows have used, but decided to leave the bottom of the barrel jokes since no one will find them funny. This show, however, then picked every single last joke and decided to use them since someone might find them funny. If this show should do something, they seriously need to consider getting better artists for starters. It is hurting my eyes just looking at it. Granted, a lot of newer shows tend to move away from art and design and focus more on story. E.g. Adventure Time and Steven Universe are prime examples of lists in the art department can make way more focus on deep and focused stories. They also really need to up their jokes, as they are now only morons would find them funny, and even they would question whether it is funny or not. It feels like they just put in a bunch of really lowbrow humor without any consideration for anything. Or maybe they spent all their budget on drugs and made this while smoking it since they had to make something for the money. And that's about all I can say about this piece of ass show. Would I recommend it? No, not at all. It's just as bad as Breadwinners as well as Rocket Monkeys. Is it worth it? No, not at all. They really seemed like a cash-in on the already hopefully dying genre of stupid shit that Teen Titans Go created.
And when you are cashing on Teen Titans Go, oh boy, then you're really low. I'm the Angrynator watching cartoons for your entertainment.